And we are on mute.
Hello.
Hey.
All right. So I hope everybody's well rested and you got to take part in sunrise ceremony this morning. And we're going to finish up our moccasins today. So where we left off, I believe we left off with attaching the cuff. So maybe if we can just do a quick check-in, if you can pop it in the chat, let me know where you're at, what I need to show you to get to the next steps today. I know some will be attaching the cuff, others are ready for embellishments. Do we have anybody that still needs to know how to do up the back of the moccasin? And do we have anybody that still needs to know how to pucker? Okay. So I'm just going to give it a second just to see where everybody is at so that I'm able to cover hopefully all the angles of what we need to do today. As this will be a shorter session. All right. Okay, so it looks like we got a mixed bag of things here. All right, ready for cuffs, still puckering. All right. All right, so for those, if you're done your puckering and you haven't done the back part yet, that's cool. I'm gonna just give you a quick overview of what we're gonna do there. So I'm gonna turn my moccasin right side in so I can take a look at it. Here's those long strappy pieces. There are some questions as what to do with them now. We are gonna take our scissors and we're gonna just trim them down to where you had stopped sewing, just like that. You're gonna trim them off. Like so, and then you can see it's a little bit thick around here yet. You're going to take your scissors and very carefully, a little bit by little bit, you're just going to trim around, and you can trim it down to wherever you're comfortable. Like I had shown a couple of days ago, I kind of like mine right snug to the base there. On the second one that I did leave a little bit more of a trim on there, and that's okay. It's just whatever your preference is and the look that you like best. Sometimes you don't have an option depending on how big your welt was to begin with. So you kind of just work with what the material is allowing you to do. So I'm going to trim that one. I'm just going to rough it up a little bit more right here. I don't want to trim it right down because I want it to match with the other one. As I'm working with a few pair here, just so that I'm able to show everybody different steps and stages. Okay, so I trimmed that down. I'm happy with how that looks. I'm going to move my scrap pieces off to the side so they're out of my way. And then I'm going to quickly show those that need to how to do up the back part. So if you haven't sewn up the back, this is where I'm going to show you how to do that. So just take a minute and just pay attention so you catch those steps. I'm going to take this moccasin, I'm going to turn it back inside out. I'm going to fold them so that they're matching. Where the top is right here, I'm going to hold my hand here, and then I'm going to sew from here down to where the bottom where it loops over, and I'm going to just use my thumb, the bend of my thumb, to guide my process of how far down I'm going to sew. So where the bend is, that's where I'm placing my thumb, so I'm going to sew to there. I'm going to stop sewing right here, and then I'll show you how to fold and trim this off. So we're going to straight stitch from here to here, okay? And then I'll show you how to fold and cut that piece at the bottom so that we can tee it off and we'll get a nice flat surface like that. All right. So you can go ahead and straight stitch it. And for those that need the cuff, if you just give me a moment, let me get through this and then I'll go right to the cuff. And then from the cuff, I'll move on to the embellishments for those that need to do that or would like to do that. And for anybody that's still puckering, once I get them started, I'll go back to the puckering. So I'm just straight stitching all the way down. I'm going to remember not to sew all the way down. I want to leave just about the tip of my thumb length from at the bottom. Yep. So I'm about there now. I'm just going to put one more stitch right here. So now, okay, if you want to just take a second, pay attention and take a look on how to fold and cut. So I have my moccasin here. I'm going to fold it like this. So it looks like I got a triangle. It's pointed. The heel is pointed up. I'm going to place my thumb over top of my threads where I've just sewn because I'm going to snip this triangle piece off. And I don't want to snip my threads. That's why I hold my finger over it. And now I'm going to take my scissors and I'm just going to cut right off, cut that little triangle off like so. And now I'm going to stitch across, and then that'll give me a nice finished tee look. So when your moccasins are complete, you are going to return them to your YSOs in your catchment area. So you'll just get in contact with them, either drop them off to them at their office or have them arrange some kind of pickup for the moccasins. And then they will get to me here in Fort Erie. And once the project is complete on my end, we're going to do a community feast for these moccasins. We're going to fill them with cedar, and then we'll have them sent off to the community. Any additional that's above the 215, we're hoping to be able to shadow box and send to those remaining communities where the other schools are at. So we let them know that we stand with them in solidarity. Our hearts are with them. Our love is with them, and they'll have a little piece of us with them so that it's visible, so that they can see that they have communities all over that do stand with them in this, in this time of sorrow, but also in with reconciliation. That we stand with them, and we're taking responsibility to educate ourselves and to share with others and do that healing for our own families. So what I just did there is I ran my needle when I got to the edge here. I ran my needle underneath my threads, and now I'm just going to sew up this other half right here. And for those that are waiting for next steps, thank you for being so patient. I'll get to those steps momentarily. So I've come to the end here. I'm going to knot it off. Reknot my sinew.
Awesome. Good job, everyone, using the chat. We have some good energy and vibes going into the chat. It says, congrats to all the youth who are working hard, putting lots of positive energy into completing these moccasins. I second that. Great job, everyone.
Absolutely. And the bonus is you're going to knock off some of those volunteer hours that are needed for your secondary schooling. So it's great. That's a little thing called reciprocity. You give and you get, and it kind of works out for everybody. Plus you're gaining a skill that you'll be able to carry with you. Okay, so here we go. My back is done up. I'll give you a show here. It's T, you got that T look at the back, which is exactly what we're looking for. And then the next step is to attach the cuff. Where is my cuff piece? Right here. So here's my cuff. And I'm just going to run over those same steps as I showed everybody yesterday. Where I'm going to leave that up to you, how you want your cuff to be out. If you're going to pay suede side out or the skin side out. You just have to pay attention on how you're putting it in. So I'm actually going to insert the cuff right inside the moccasin. Takes a little maneuvering, because how it's going to get sewn is we're just going to be doing that straight stitch that I've already shown you, and you're going to straight stitch it. You're just going to work around. So you're going to start right here at the where your welt ends, where you've trimmed off, and you're going to start sewing your cuff to the moccasin foot hole, and you're just going to work all the way around. And then when you're done, I'll show you with this one right here. So I inserted the cuff inside before I sewed it. And then I just stitched all the way around, knotted it off, and then I'm going to pull the cuff out and flip it over. Just like that. So if you want a little two-tone action, you can flip your leather around and have your suede side against your skin side, or the opposite way, depending on how you've put them together. Okay.
Awesome. We have lots of interest in your Facebook page, Nokomis Makings, Shannon.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I can't read anything in the chat. I got booted on the laptop, so I'm just trying
No,
to
that's fine. That's
get
fine.
back
I
in
got the
over
chat for
there.
you. Yep, I got the
Okay.
chat for you today.
All right, I'm back in on here. Yep, so on my Facebook page, I usually just share and post some of the stuff I'm working on, workshops that I'm doing, or, you know, sometimes I need to craft for my own health. And when I say my own health, I mean my own mental health. It's soothing and relaxing, and it lets me escape things. So it's a good place for me to share my makings there. And sometimes I have stuff up for raffle or for purchase, and yeah, it's just a great communication tool where I get to share the stuff that I love to do. Okay, so now I've inserted my cuff inside, and now I'm going to just start sewing. And I'm just going to do that straight stitch, so that over under, and I'm just going to work around the foot hole. And if you happen to get your cuff sewn on and you flip it out and you realize one side has a little overhang, that's okay, you can trim it down. On this one here, you can see afterwards, I just rounded the edge. I don't always do that. I just did a little something different with that one. I'll leave that to you. You could even cut your cuff and make fringe. Somebody had done that with this one here. They made a little fringe on theirs. And I leave that up to you as to what you're comfortable with and what you want to try. So I'm just going to work around the foot hole all the way around. And I'm just going to go halfway with this one, and then I'm going to jump into the puckering for those that still need to do that. So I'm hoping that I'm covering everybody's needs for where they're at with completing their moccasins. Once I show the puckering, I will go on to the embellishments. So if you are at the stage where you would like to add some of the embellishments, you can go ahead and pick up your smaller leather needle. I got a twist here. Your smaller leather needle, and you're going to thread it with your beading thread. And then you're going to need your handy dandy plate and your beads. You can pull out there's a bag of just orange beads, they're a little bit smaller. Those are seed beads. We'll use that to do the little bit of trim here. And then your excess beads that are left. As you can see, I just did a little pattern that went around my cuff. You can do something like that as well. You can either wait for my instruction on that, or you can just go ahead and put your creativity to use in those basic skills that you've been given, and give it a go. When you set out with good intentions, there's no wrong way.
Awesome. Yep. And I love that you said that, Shannon. Good intentions. We just had an awesome presentation with Alleyton Hove, our RBC Olympian.
Oh,
And she was
awesome.
able, yep, she was able to, that's why it's such an awesome, positive space coming right from that, because she was able to really truly relate to the youth as far as goal setting, reflecting on your values. She related her whole presentation to um our theme of this year's event, fanning the fire within. And she actually, on each different slide, she was able to show, you know, parts of her success and her story, that her fire was burning strong, and then a little bit of barriers when it had kind of dimmed down a little bit. But she really reflected the presentation on goal setting. So it's really
Awesome.
awesome. Yeah, it was just, it was aligned perfectly, because it was able to remind all of us, even myself. I'm not working on a pair of moccasins during this. I'm actually, me and Dill are tag teaming, and right.
He needs that help.
Oh, I know. I know. And I really, I enjoy that time actually sitting with my partner, um, to, teach him that, right? Because even myself, I've been doing beading and I've been doing crafting for some time, but when I do have an order, or when I'm right in, I don't have time to sit and teach. So it's actually been really nice to connect with one another in that way.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and I did it was a lot of work putting all these kits together, um, which was great. I had my daughter and my partner helping, wrapping thread and sinew, and helping me get these kits ready for you guys for this workshop. And I took a little break afterwards because it's been I've been doing this project now. Oh my God, it's been a few months, and that's all it's been. I haven't taken any orders, or I did a little bit of beading for my grandgirls on their jackets and stuff, but nothing really. And I was just like, I need to do something, but not moccasins. So I needed to take a break. And I worked on some poppies. So I did a few beaded poppies, just not as orders. It didn't start out that way anyways. It just started out just for something different. I needed a different perspective on something on my bead table. So I did a little bit of that. And then now I'm right back at moccasins. I made a couple of baby pair for some new community members going to be arriving in the next little while. So it's always a great feeling to be a part of that journey as well.
It sure is. I can definitely, I have to agree to that. That's actually how I started getting into any kind of crafting. And you know what? Sometimes I'm like, it's not just crafting, right? It's actually, there's so much connection that we get out of using the same method and techniques as our ancestors did. And that's one thing, Shannon, that opened that door to me, is as I was growing up, I was always connected to traditional clothing, right, through my grandmother. And the
Mhm.
moment I was able to share kind of that lead role as an auntie, that was one of the first things I wanted to do, was make the baby something, moccasins, a ribbon dress,
Yeah,
whatever that was. Yep.
yeah, and you're so right. My business card here, these are my hands, and those moccasins right there were for my first granddaughter, and I made them while her mother was birthing her. We were at the birthing center, and she was in labor, and I was out in the waiting room because I needed a break from her. And I was sitting out there making these while she was birthing my granddaughter, and it was like, and it's my connection, right? And this this moment right here means something to me, and it might not mean anything to anybody else that has this card kicking around on their table or wallet, but to me, there's my connection, and it's my connection to my people and also to my grandbabes. So okay, I've got my cuff on. I'm gonna fold it out. It doesn't look like I have to trim anything off, so I'm good. And that's it. My moccasin is intact and it's lovely as ever. And now it's ready for some embellishments, if you so choose. And it just gives it a little something. It gives you an opportunity to put a little more of yourself into it. Try a new technique. Um, See if you like it. So I have my beading thread on my smallest leather needle. And I'm just gonna show, I gotta go to no, I'm gonna wait for for this. I'm gonna show the puckering because I know I believe I seen one or two people that still had to pucker.
Yep, right on, Shannon.
So I'm gonna jump to that and then I'll jump to the embellishments. So I'm sorry if I got your hopes up there, but just give me a moment. I just want to get everybody at a good spot. So if you're just gonna pucker, so here's my pieces here. Let me move my needle. I haven't marked this one out yet, so I have my beaded piece right here. I'm gonna flip it over, fold it in half, and then I'm just gonna mark the tip here so that I know it's the halfway point. And I want to do that so that when I'm sewing that my moccasin isn't lopsided, it's even on both sides. Now I'm going to take the big base piece, same thing. I'm going to fold it in half. And I'm going to mark the tip with a pen, pencil, marker. If you have the black leather, I recommend a black or a white or yellow pencil crayon. Or if you have a metallic Sharpie, that'll work as well. So there I have my markings. This suede side that I've marked on is going to be the inside of my moccasin. So I'm going to place that face down on my work surface. So I have my skin side of my leather up, which will be the outside. So it'll be the pair to this one right here. I'm going to take my welt piece, and this piece, it doesn't matter if you want to put it, you know, the skin to skin, or if you want to put the suede side on top of the skin. That's totally up to you, whatever your preference is, again, because it gets trimmed down. And so it doesn't make too much of a difference. And I'm just going to lie it right on top. Then I'm going to take my beaded vamp piece here. Beads are going to go face down. And now all I'm going to do is I'm going to line up my markings where I just marked. Yep, they're lined up. I'm going to grab my needle. If I didn't show you, and if you didn't catch the part where you split the sinew, I'll back up just 1 second. So I have a piece, I took my sinew off my card, and you're going to pull it apart like a cheese string. I don't start at the top of it though. I go down just a little bit and then I separate it, or I try to. I see where it's going to pull apart, much like a cheese string. And then I'm going to pull. You're going to get 3 or 4 threads off this one piece of sinew. So you can pull it apart, wrap up your extra sinew back on the card so you keep track of it and it doesn't get tangled up. And then I'm going to thread my needle. The bigger leather needle is what we're sewing with for the leather. Single thread, so you're going to leave a little bit of a tail on it. And then you're going to go down to the end of the long one. And then you're going to tie your knot. It's just like tying a balloon. Wrap it around your fingers, put the loop through the part that's on wrapped around your fingers, and then pull. Okay, so my markings are lined up. I'm going to go about 1/4 inch in. And it might be hard to sew through your leather to push it through. So this is where your little scrap piece of leather is going to come in handy. You can help use it to push your needle through. Keep in mind, remembering not to bend your needle too much. Try to keep it straight so that you're not ruining the integrity of the metal and snapping the needle. And I'm going to go over that stitch a second time so that it loops right over, and I'm going to lock all 3 pieces together just like that. And then the welt piece here is going to stay flush with your vamp. So I'm just going to be mindful, and I'm going to tuck it, make sure it's lying right with the vamp. And then the only piece we're moving is this base piece. This is where you're going to be puckering. You're going to make your puckers with this piece. So you're going to use your index and your thumb. You're going to push the material up together like this to make a pleat or pucker. And then holding it with your thumb and index finger and your needle in this hand, you're going to use your fingers to guide the needle through. Careful not to run the needle through your finger. I'm going to use my piece of leather here to help push it through. Pull my thread all the way through, and then I'm going to make another loop. second stitch right in the same spot because I want to secure that pucker into place. And now I'm going to do a straight stitch right beside it. So nothing, I'm not puckering. I'm just doing a straight stitch. And then I'll do another pucker. So again, index finger and thumb, push the material together. Hold it with your thumb and index finger. With your needle in your other hand, you're going to use your fingers to guide your needle through the material, coming up right beside the pucker, and you're going to pull it through. And then you're going to do a second stitch right in the same spot. And then you're going to do a straight stitch right beside that pucker. And it'll depend on the size of your puckers, how many you're going to get. I tend to get 6 or 7 when I do a pair. I'm going to turn this one inside out so you can see. Just depends on how close you put them together. And yep, I got 6. So I'll do 6 puckers, and then there'll be a section of straight stitching. So where this divot is in your material, let me get in the camera view better here. There's a little divot. If you look at your base piece that's here, that comes out like this, right at this point, this is where you're going to stop. You're going to stop sewing all together. So you might end your puckers up here, and then you have like an inch of that's still left. You're going to straight stitch it like this to that divot. And then you're going to knot it off, and then you're going to go back up to the top, and then you're going to work the other side and do your puckers and your straight stitch to that divot. So hopefully for those that are puckering, have those steps. I'll do one more pucker, and then I'm going to move on to the beaded edging so we can get our friends that are patiently waiting to do some embellishment. We'll get them going.
Perfect, perfect. I think you did great. I think this is awesome. This must be last call for clarity, how to pucker. There's no questions in the chat right now, so hopefully that's a good sign that everyone's an expert now, right, Shannon?
Exactly. And there's video for you guys to go back and watch. And again, if you follow my page, you might see pop-up workshops. Maybe there'll be some online ones. Maybe you want to get involved and partake again. I know we did a full-size one when we did this project with the summer boot camps. We then did full-size moccasins. If you're in this group right now and you did a full-size pair and you didn't finish them, these are the same skills, the same techniques that we use on a full-size pair. The only difference is that there's a liner, and you have the capability of finishing them, and those are for your feet. And if you need that one-on-one help, you can message me, email me, and I'll gladly sit through a Zoom and help you finish your full-size one. If anybody is in this segment today that took part in the summer boot camp.
Wow, awesome.
So I'll offer that out.
We have a question.
Yes.
How close are you to having 215 moccasins?
It's a good question. I don't know right at this minute. I was hoping that I was gonna pull them all out and get to them. I have a tote here, and then I have a big bag of them at work. I gotta be sitting close to more than half at this point. And so hopefully after this segment, there was, I believe, 150 kits that went out. So hopefully, pretty close to 150 come back, and we'll be at that target. And then I guess I'll have to look for a new initiative.
Oh, awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
That's why I said I'm so excited, Shannon, to see how far this project goes. I really, really, truly am. I feel honored. I feel honored to be part of the community. Like, hey, I know Shannon Cotter, right? I'm from Fort Erie. So awesome. This is amazing. I've always wanted to make moccasins. Thank you. Tegan says, yeah, it's cool. I'm really glad everyone's enjoying it.
Awesome.
And one of the things
I think Tegan, I think you might have been part of that Fort Erie group that did make moccasins, full-size ones. And I believe you might have been one of the ones that completed them. How are they fitting? Oh, we have Alexis wearing her big ones too. Awesome. I did.
Oh, wow.
They fit good. Awesome.
Awesome. Great news.
Yeah, Nung's got some skill, let me tell you. Yeah, I'm always willing to help, and you know, if you got projects you want to finish and you're not quite sure, you just have to reach out. And oh, I will say this, because I did have a couple people that did reach out wanting to finish their moccasins, but they did not leave me contact information. So if you reach out and you're asking for help, please leave me a number or an email or something that I can get back to you with. And I'll be more than happy to do a virtual session with you, or we can meet in community and sit and finish your moccasins.
I have a question.
Yes.
So I'm working on I had to take mine apart and restart over again. So I did the puckering. I think it went well. But my puckers almost go down to the divot. Is that okay? Like I
Yep.
could probably do a couple of straight stitches and then I'm done the one side. So that's okay?
Yep, that's okay.
Awesome.
That's
Okay.
okay. I'm really just showing you how I'm showing you right here is really my preference.
Okay.
So I will show, I showed yesterday, let me see if I can find that one right here. So here's one that was done by one of the students. As you can see, they've only got just a little bit of their toe puckered right there. And then they did a lot of straight stitching, which I said is fine too. It's just, again, it's up to you. You'll get a little bit of a different style of looking moccasin, and that's okay, because that shows character and individuality, right?
Mm.
And I think I have another one here. If you take a look at this one, there's quite a bit of puckering that goes almost up. So yeah, it's up to you. There's no, again, there's no wrong way. And nobody's wearing these, so this is where it's safe to make those little things. If somebody were wearing them, because there's like a few that, you know, people just learning, the foothold isn't very big, which ideally, like if you were making them for someone, you'd want to make sure that their foot can fit in. But I've marked this pattern's marked out pretty good, so it'll be fine at the end of the day. So I'm just gonna, let me catch my pen there. I'm just gonna, I got a couple more stitches to do right here, and then I'm going on to the embellishment.
Perfect. And Connor, this is your cue to look at the screen, hon. You asked, how do I do the side sewing? That's exactly what Shannon's doing now. So this is your time to have that clarity.
Yeah,
While
you're
she's
just,
showing you that, go ahead, Shannon. Yep, just so
yeah,
Connor has your full attention.
yep, Connor, for the straight stitching, you're gonna straight stitch the side there the same way we did the back of the moccasin. Straight down, okay? So you're gonna do the same thing here on the side. And you're just gonna go to where it points out, which is the divot in the base of the moccasin. So you're just gonna straight stitch to there, okay?
Awesome. Awesome. We've been talking a lot about transferable skills in every workshop that we've been in, and we've had lots and lots of good feedback. And the best one I think right now that is sticking out is perseverance, right? The ability to be able to continue after setbacks or barriers or anything like that. So for anyone that goes through stages of, you know, I don't know if I can do this, or, you know, a little bit of self-doubt, perseverance goes a long way to. And grandmother Renee, also a reminder that our grandmothers are in the quiet room and they have beautiful messages encouraging us to be kind to ourselves and be easy on ourselves and be in the moment to enjoy learning something new, rather than having the expectation that we couldn't complete it in time, or we're not made for this, or things that we've been hearing. But now that everybody, we're seeing less requests to take steps back. So that is a good sign. So I love that. Connor, how did you do the back? Connor,
Oh,
were you able to do your sides? Sew your
Oh.
sides?
well, hopefully not the sides, because you wanna, oh yeah,
The sides
Oh.
of the vamp part.
yeah, no, he hasn't. Okay, so if you can sew up, do your puckering and sew up your sides, and then when you've got that complete, I will show you how to do the back. But for right this minute, I'm going to go on to show those that have been patiently waiting on how to do the embellishments. And then I will definitely jump back and I can cover anything that maybe need to be covered again, if that's okay.
Awesome. That's fine.
Yeah, so I've grabbed my bag of orange beads here. Again, these are much smaller than what we originally worked with, which is okay. So you absolutely need your smaller leather needle. If you don't have that and you have only your big one will not go through because these are much smaller. So I'm not going to dump the whole bag out. I'm only going to grab a few here on my plate. And this edging here is really simple to, I'm going to show you. And actually you'll see this edging in a lot of our beadwork. It's, we use it when we make earrings. You see it, you'll see it. This is a very transferable piece of beadwork right here. There's certain techniques that we do with our beadwork, which you'll see that gets crossed over into multiple different items. So edging is one of those things. It's a great thing to learn. And this is one of the simpler ones, easier ones to learn. So I'm going to show you how to do that. I have my thread here, single or double, it's up to you. I prefer single, so that's what I'm working with. And now I'm just going to look, and you do the edging last, and I'll tell you why. Because if I were to have done this prior to sewing my moccasin together, I might have gone down too far. So I want to wait until I've gotten my moccasin sewn up so that it shows me how much I have to work with. Okay. So I'm going to work from the back because I want my little knot to be at the back. And right now I'm only catching the edge of the top of the vamp here. Okay. So I'm going to put my needle through, making sure that my knot is big enough. It's not going to pull through. And it's good. So now I'm going to pick up 3 beads. So this patterning is you start with 3 and then you work with 2, always 2. So the first time around is 3. So I'm going to go ahead and put 3 on my string at one time. And if you don't get to this part of putting the embellishments on, that's okay. So I've got my 3 on, I lay them down, I see where they're at. I want them to stand up a little bit. So I'm just going to put my needle, I'm hoping you guys can see this, just a little bit back, pop my needle back through the leather. So I'm going to come out the front of the leather, carefully pull my needle. And it kind of looks, I'm going to try to show you what it looks like here. It's kind of like that. Looks a little wonky, but that's okay. So now what I'm going to do, I'm at the front of the leather. I'm going to maneuver those beads over and I'm going to go up the last bead, the first bead here. I'm going to go up it. And then it's going to help it stand up. Small tug, not too much because I don't want to rip it out. So see, now it's sitting on the edge. It's going to sit on the edge. Let me show you this done one here. All right, so now I've got my 3 on and I went up the 1 bead. Now I'm going to put on 2 beads. And that's what I'm going to work with from now on is 2 beads until I get to the end there. So 2 beads, I'm going to look where they're going to lie. Pop my needle through to the back. And now I'm going to go up that 1 bead right there. And that's going to make them stand up on the edge. Just like that. Is Lex sewing her leather together? I'm just trying to.
Me too, yeah. She said the needle won't go through my mocks to sew the pieces to each other. I'm okay. It seems thick. So I just try to encourage her to, sometimes we have to go slow and wiggle it through rather than try to force.
And you really want to going to use your extra piece of leather. If you happen to have a pair of pliers kicking around your house, that's sometimes a great tool. Sometimes the leather is a little bit harder to work with. It's one of those things you kind of learn how to use. Like I find this blue stuff is seems thicker. than this brown, but the brown is actually more harder to sew through, is more tougher. I don't know why that is, but it just seems that way. So yeah, try using your leather to push the needle through. Be a little more patient. And if you happen to have a pair of pliers kicking around, it's a great way if you could just get your needle through and then pull straight, and it should come through. So yeah, this is this edging. It's kind of, and you can even, there's other like numbers of beads you can work with, and you can get a more lacier look. It's just you can YouTube a lot of these like beading tutorials too. So if this is something you want to get you're interested in, you want to give it a go, you can YouTube some tutorials. If you have any extra materials left, use them up. Try something new with them. Even this edging, you could put it on a jacket, on the collar of a jacket.
So I'm just going to touch on Brandy's question. Brandy, your question when you said, so what do we do after the straight sewing? Does that mean besides your vamps, you're able to do your pucker? Awesome. So you're ready to sew the back together.
Okay, they're ready for the backs.
Yep.
So if those are that are doing the embellishments, if you're okay with what I've given you to this point, I will jump back on. I'll have to sew up the other side of that one moccasin there so that I can show you the back, because I already used that sample already. So for those that are trying the edging, how are you doing? Can you give me a thumbs up?
We did have a question that said, is it okay if we just do one bead at a time?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. You do what works for you. I'm just showing you just the techniques that I know of. And again, remember, there's no wrong way when you set out with good intentions. Okay, so I'm just going to pop back up this one, and I'm going to set this aside. I'll show you where I'm at with it. You can see where I was talking. I forgot a bead, but I'm okay with it. So now I'm just going to move back over to this one. I'm going to quickly whip up this side here, and then I'll show you how to do the back, to sew up the back so that you guys can have that step. So for anybody that is still puckering and hasn't done their back part yet, when I do get to this point, I'll just ask that you take a minute, pay attention, watch the steps so that you have it for when you get there. Okay. I'm just going to do these puckers real quick on this side.
That's okay, Connor. That's all right. If you're feeling that it's hard, you absolutely can. All you can do is try your best, Connor. You've been really, really treading through awesome. So I do believe in you, Connor. And remember, if this is your first pair ever, your first time sewing ever, your first time beading ever, of course, you're going to feel maybe it's hard or you can't complete it, but most definitely push through, and they're going to be perfect in the end.
Absolutely. And with anything, anytime we try something new, think back to something that you tried new. Maybe, you know, like if you think about skating, right? I know we're just teaching my granddaughters now, and it's so funny, right? Because they get out there, they don't know what they're doing. They look hilarious out there. They fall down a billion times. And I said to my granddaughter before we even got out there, I says, you're gonna fall down a lot. And I said, and that's okay. I said, you just get up and you keep trying, right? And then in a couple of seasons, she's not even going to remember, you know, all these, this year particularly, where she's going to fall down a lot. The more you do it, the better you're going to get at it. Kind of like cooking too. You know, anything we do, you just keep practicing, keep pushing through, and you will get better at it. almost there. I got 2 more puckers to put in, and then I'll straight stitch, and then I'll get right to the back to show you how to stitch up the back.
Of course you can, Connor. Crystal, I had just sent you a message. I had a request to travel to the quiet room, so that you can give Connor a hand, and Alexis wanted to take a moment as well. So Crystal, are you there? That was my direction to you. And Brandy, she's just finishing her pucker and the straight edge on the side, and we'll be able to, awesome, Crystal. If you could meet Connor and Alexis in the quiet room.
Yeah, I got 1 more pucker, and then I got a little straight stitching. I'm trying to use this. My sinew is getting a little hairy there though, so hopefully I can get this last stitch in, and then I'll switch it out. Actually, I think I need to stop actually there. So, okay, so on this side, I must have put a little bit more spacing in between them. So I only got 5 puckers, but that's okay. I'm going to knot it off. I'm going to rethread so that I can do that little bit of straight stitching before moving to the back, just because, as you can see, this is a good indication of when to change your sinew. I say it's getting hairy. It's starting to fray a little bit up by the needle where I put it through the needle. So that's a good indication of where to trim it off, or it'll just snap on you eventually. Let's see if I have another needle threaded here.
Good job, everybody. Really, really good. They've gotten really awesome, Shannon, of asking for clarity, right? Compared
Yes.
to the first session, I think everyone was shying away from asking for help, and now they're using effective communication. Yes.
And that's a transferable skill. You use that all
Sure
the
is.
time. Anything that you need help with, you know, always ask. There's no such thing as a dumb question. And you know, how are you going to know unless you ask? You know, unless people can read minds, and I've yet to master that trick yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's okay, because I know in the beginning when I was learning, I had to ask lots of questions. I still ask questions. I'll even message people that I also know that make moccasins, and I'll ask them something, you know, if it's if they do something a little bit different than I do. That's okay. We don't know until we ask and learn.
Yep. So Emily, Shannon's just going over sewing the back together. We had a request from Brandy to recap how to sew the back. After she's done doing that, she can go back to the edging and show you the edging. So sew the back, Shannon,
Okay.
and then we have a student that's requesting just
How to,
the orange embellishment. Yeah.
okay, great. So if you're going on to the edging, just get your the smaller of the leather needles threaded with the beading thread, and I'll be with you momentarily. I'm just straight stitching the side after my puckers here, and then I'm going to move to the back real quick, and then I'll go back to the edging. And again, for those that are still working away, if you don't get to the embellishments, that's okay. You're more than welcome to go ahead and try it on your own, or not. It's totally up to you. And there's different ways we can embellish. We can put the edging along the vamp, or we can use our bigger excess beads that are left over and do a little design on the cuff. You can do both if you'd like. Just be mindful of the beads that you do have left so that you have enough for whatever pattern you're going to do for both of them.
Absolutely. Awesome. Yep, Sebastian. So if you'd like to go to the event page, you'll see a big square that says quiet room. If you need a moment just to go in there and kind of get yourself together, especially because you're at the beginning stages, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. Grandmother Jackie had offered her help as well. She has some, she's made many moccasins before as well. So definitely you'll be able to get help in the quiet room if you're at the very beginning stages for sure. So Shannon's just finishing up the straight stitch after her puckering along her vamp. Then she's going to the bottom heel part for Brandy, and then
Yeah.
she'll recap the edging for Emily Poole. Emily Poulet. I hope I said that right.
Yeah. Also for Sebastian too, right? There's videos from yesterday's session and Thursday session
Perfect.
that are also on your guys's page, right? So he can
Yeah.
always refer to those, or again on my Facebook page, there's a video uploaded from covering what we did Thursday as well as what we covered yesterday.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you for that reminder.
I'm just
Great.
gonna knot and cut that off.
Awesome.
Okay, so if you have not trimmed your welt down, the little tails that are hanging, we're going to do that, and then we're going to sew up the back. So if you have not done those steps, but you'd like to take a look and see, I will do that. We have about 30 minutes left in our session for today, so I'd like to leave everybody in a good spot, hopefully. So I've got my side sewn here. I'm going to turn this right side in. And now I'm just going to trim off these tails. This one is a little thick, so I am going to trim it down. And I'm just going to carefully trim it down because I don't want to rush right into cutting right to the base in case a thread is showing and I nick my thread. And you just trim it down to where you're comfortable. I'm going to leave this one like that. Now I'm going to turn it back inside out. Then I'm going to fold. So I am going to sew up the back now. So if this is something you haven't done and you need to see these steps, this might be a good time just to look at your screen real quick. So I'm going to fold my piece in half like this, and I'm going to do that straight stitch. So from up here at the top down, and I'm going to use the crease in my thumb as my guide. So I'm going to put my finger, and now I know this is how much I'm not going to sew. So I'm going to leave this and I'm going to sew here to here. And then I'll show you how to fold and cut this part off so that we can get a nice finished tee at the bottom for the heel. All right, so I'm just going to start sewing. I'm using my needle and my sinew. Just sew up the back here. Again, it's just a straight stitch. And I'm just going to be mindful not to sew it all the way down. I want to leave about a thumb, the tip of my thumb length at the bottom so that I can shape it and cut it so that I can have that finished tee look. So from this session with the samples that I've been doing here, I have 3 pair on the go. So I will finish those off. If they don't get finished here today, which I think they should, they're all actually looking pretty good.
I have to share, Shannon. Hunter had gotten his hand casted maybe 2 days ago now, and he's still giving her on his moccasins.
Yeah, your ma sent me a couple photos last night, and I was like, oh my goodness, how awesome.
Yep, most
Yeah.
definitely. Champion youth trotting through. I love it.
Yeah. If you look at my hands right now, they're all cut up, scarred up. I can't work with band-aids. And everybody's, oh, just I can put band-aids on, but I can't. I don't know. It's like a mobility issue. Things don't feel right with them on.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I think my hands get too sweaty and my band-aids end up coming off anyway. And then
Yeah.
I blow through them. Right.
Yeah.
I learned to just put pressure. When I prick myself, I learned to just put like maybe 40 minutes of pressure on there. That's normally pretty good. Thankfully, I haven't gotten any deeper than those little pricks though. So
Yeah. Yeah, I've got myself good a couple of times, but I try to be mindful, but once you start building up callus, it's very easy just to sometimes get scarred up, not even realize, because your callus is so gross. Grossly
True.
thick. I know, and
True.
because I've been working with leather like a lot lately, my hands, they're so dry. I feel like I just want to dip them in olive oil or something.
Yeah, I know, right? I think even for myself, there was a couple times I had like Crisco on the counter, and that was the most accessible. Rather than going to the bathroom and getting lotion. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness, so funny. Hey, earlier there was a comment about oh yeah, the leather being so thick. So I did learn that depending on the thickness of the leather is how thick it's kind of navigates where that skin was located. So the neck and the back on caribou or deer or moose, cow, those are always the thickest part of leather. So if you have a leather that's really thick, chances are you have a back strap, or like part of the animal that had thick skin, which would be the neck, the back, right?
Mm-hmm. And even an older animal, even, right?
Yes, most
Yeah.
definitely. All right.
Weather.
So Brandy actually, I don't see Brandy. He was the one that wanted the clarification on this. So I'm not sure if he went to the quiet room. So keep on going. But after this, Shannon, yep,
should I
maybe want
wait?
to switch over to the embellishment.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, awesome. Yep.
So for anybody that is sewing up the back straight stitch, remember to leave like I use the crease in my thumb to know that that's where I'm stopping. So that's where I'm going to stop. So get to that point, and then we'll wait a bit, and then I'll come back and I'll show you how we're going to fold it, cut it off, and then sew it up. So we have that T looking part. And then for the edging, I'm not going to restart the edging. So I'm just going to try to talk you through it here and show you with what I have already here. So you're going to thread your small leather needle with your beading thread, and then you're going to start with 3 beads. And you're going to use the bag of orange beads. These are seed beads, so they're a bit smaller. You're going to put on your 3 beads on your string, just like that. And then you're just going to catch the edge of the leather, and the beads are just going to edge it. Actually, it is exactly how it sounds. So I'm going to go through all the way through. So my 3 beads, and then I'm going to go up the last bead like that. I know it's difficult to see because they're small. My hands are taking up a lot of the camera here. I'm going to pull it, and it's going to lay right on top of the top part of the vamp here. And now I've done 3 beads, so now I'm only going to put on 2. And then it'll be 2 beads and then up 1, 2 beads, up 1, until I get all the way around. So I'm just gonna poke through, and however close you do it, it'll be just how they stand up. If you go a little bit further apart, like I did here, but I actually missed a bead, you'll have a little bit of a space. So now I'm gonna go up that 1 bead, which helps the bead stand up, just like that. 2 more beads. Up 1. And then I'm just going to do that all the way around. Two beads. Up 1.
So not rushing you, Shannon. Your edging's looking beautiful. Just giving you a heads up to the time. It is 2:09, leaving us 21 minutes to finish off this session.
All right. So if you still have any questions left, or there's something you need, please pop it in the chat. Let me see if I can get it covered in the time. I am going to try to whip through the rest of this edging here, and I'll show you the next step. Maybe I'll take a break from the edging, and then I can show you how to use up the remainder of your beads if you'd like. Just see if I got a piece with sinew here. So if you want to add a little bit onto the cuff, you're going to use your beading needle and your sinew. So if there's anybody that still needs to know how to tee off the back part, I'll get to that in a minute. If that's, we need to go over that. I don't want to leave anybody hanging. Again, the recordings are going to be posted on your event page there, and they're going to be up for a bit, so you guys can go back and reference or hit up the Facebook live video, and you can take a look there. You can even just reach out and message me, and I can help you.
Yep, and I had thrown it in the chat just to remind everybody that if you're wanting to connect with Shannon outside or after the event, contact your YSO and they can arrange an exchange of contact information.
Yeah, actually, they have everything even on my card there,
True.
Jill.
There you go, on your
Email,
card.
email, text number, and a Facebook page. So, okay, I want to use up some of my leftover beads here. Just going to move those over, lay them out on my plate. I strung some sinew onto my leather needle. And I just want to add some pattern of sorts. So it's up to you, however you want to do the patterning. I was just looking to use up some of my beads that were left. So I'm going to pop in through the inside of my leather. And I'm going to go right through onto the cuff like so. Trying to be careful not to knock my beads over.
My goodness.
And
Oh,
then I'm just gonna grab up some beads. So I'm gonna go orange, yellow, orange. However you choose to pattern, that'll be up to you. And then I'm just gonna lay them where I'd like them to be, and then I'm gonna pop my needle through to the back. And then I'm just gonna weave my needle in and out of my leather just like that, however you want to space it, or whatever pattern you choose. I'm not gonna go back and tack any of them down. It's only 3 beads, they'll be fine. I'm using sinew, which is thicker than the beading thread.
awesome.
Yep, and now I'm just gonna work my way around. So I'm gonna poke up right here. It looks even. And then I'm just gonna continue with that pattern all the way around. And that's just a little embellishment. You can do anything that you want. You can even take this edging here that you're doing, and you could edge the whole cuff. That's up to you. Or maybe you want to put a couple of daisy flowers along the cuff as well. It's your options are there for whatever you want to give a try to with your leftover beads there.
Yep. And while we have some youth that are trying to work on having a Teams meet maybe. So Nicole, Alexis, just hang tight because Nicole is working on that. And for those of you who wanted to be promoted to panelists, to be able to share your not your screen, share your video and your audio. Now we have 15 minutes left until this session ends. So this is your chance to ask for clarification, how you can complete your next steps. So Shannon has been super, super awesome working on how many different moccasins at one time to trace back different steps. So I just wanted to encourage the youth. I know everybody's doing amazing. For those of you who aren't as active in the chat, this is the time now to get clarification, or after this session is done, then that would be you communicating and connecting to Shannon via her card on your own. So I just wanted to kind of give that little bit of a oomph to any youth that may be holding back on a question. Remember, no wrong question. Throw her out there.
Absolutely. And let's get those community service hours, get them done and out of the way and off your plate.
Exactly. Shannon, we had a really awesome panel today. It was the construction panel actually. And they talked a lot about mentorship and volunteering. And how, and right, when we think of that through an Indigenous lens, the the 7th generation concept of, mentoring and leadership, that actually falls into that mentorship. And right, Shannon, volunteering, how important is volunteering, dedicating your time, your own time and your commitment, and actually how that can score you placements, right? And co-op, that can score you a job just by dedicating your individual time, because you're choosing to do that on your own. You're not being, encouraged or bribed or told that it's something that you're passionate about. So we did, when you say community service hours, right, that volunteering is so key to that.
Yep. And it's also lifelong too, as adults. And I work, and like I said, I'm a mom and I'm a grandma, and I have my little side business here, but I also volunteer. I sit on different boards, and I volunteer with different events, and because I want to be a part of something. I want to contribute to my community, and it's a great way to be able to do that, to share a little bit of myself with them. So sometimes it's just you just do it because it feels good.
Exactly. And some of these youth might find themselves in a circle of first time moccasin makers, and they're able to have something to share with them, right?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Absolutely. So yeah, I'm just using it, like, again, like I said, I'm just using up my leftover beads. And I'm just working around just to embellish, giving a little personality to my moccasins. So however you choose to do that is up to you. Whatever pattern you choose to use. So I'm just looking to see how many, roughly 2 or 3 more little patterns here, and then that'll be complete. Then I can go back and finish off my my edging there, and then I will have one fully completed pair, and then I have 2 other pair that are just about complete. So yeah, I have 3 pair on the go. That's they've been helping me to instruct you guys these last couple of days to be able to show you different different steps at different times, and to try to accommodate everybody's because you know we all don't work at the same pace. Some work faster than others, some need a little more time, and sometimes you
Oh,
just need to be a little slower.
Clayton Miracle. He says, this is a great way to get hours with COVID still going on too. We learn a new skill from home with a great teacher. I like the mindset, Clayton. That's what we like to
Awesome.
hear.
Yeah, you're so right.
And Shannon, no matter what, how much time do we have to finish? Oh, okay. Let me just touch that on Chloe. So Chloe, um, the goal was to finish the moccasins by this session, but we understand for that this is a new experience for a lot of youth. So I have been directed to just encourage you to continue to work on them. Um, I believe I was given a date, December 2nd is the absolute must finish by. I'm going to drop that in the chat one more time, but please, I have to emphasize this because I know it took me a while and it's still something I'm working on. Do not wait till last minute to say I want to get my moccasins in, because you know, working under that pressure isn't always the best. So most definitely, if you want to work on finishing them, December 2nd is the date set, but we encourage you to continue working on them. And how you're going to be able to have that guidance, like Shannon has been saying, there are videos not only from this event uploaded, and they will stay on there. I will get a time, I will get a date, kind of, you know, how long they're going to be there, but she also said that there may be other pop-up videos, or there may be another session that you can connect in that way.
Yeah, and there is right now, there's one video posted of what we've done the last couple of days. It's posted on my Facebook page. It's a live video that I did, and it's covering this exact pattern that we're using, because this pattern was designed specifically for this group here. So it is posted there, and by all means access it. Reach out. You can reach out to me. We can do a one-on-one Zoom session if that's something you need as well. I am willing to get you guys through where you need to be. And I absolutely agree. Don't wait. Don't put it down and wait a few days to go back to it, because you don't want to forget anything that you might have already learned right now. So I finished my my pattern around the cuff of my moccasin. I'm just finishing up right here with my edging, and that's it.
So Nicole has made a Teams meet as well. I know some of the youth who were on a school account may not have been able to access a Google Meet on the side, like our quiet room or our tech room. So Nicole is working on those details. I think at this time, it's a good time, Shannon, to acknowledge not only our moccasin makers, our youth, but I'm sure they have their support systems beside them, whether it be older siblings, grandmothers, moms, dads, aunties, uncles. I'm sure they've looked to the left or looked to the right and said, oh no, I need help. I know my mom was helping Hunter. I just wanted to say thank you, Anyawa and Chimigwech, to the family members or friends that are, or community that are surrounding our youth and giving them that little bit of extra help that you can, aside from this event.
Absolutely. You know, we can't get very far if we don't have those supports, right? Like whether they're at home or in community or at school, we all need some kind of support. If it's friends, family, community mentors, they're great to have. And it's always nice to be able to look to the left or the right of you and be like, hey, what was that? What did I just miss? How do I do that? It's great to have them involved, and hopefully they're learning too, right? So I'm just adding on my last one. I'm going to knot it off, and my edging is now complete, and I have my completed pair of moccasins. Snip my thread off. So I finished my edging. I've done a little bit of embellishment along the cuff. And there's my completed pair of moccasins.
All right, wonderful, Shannon.
One of 3 pair, so I will finish off these ones. They'll get done between tonight and tomorrow.
Wow.
And they'll go in with the rest of them, and I'll make a post on my Facebook and to see exactly where we're at with the ones that I haven't counted lately. And then once they come rolling back in from your guys' session too, I will share those on my social media. I love to share with community to see, so that they can see what's happening within community, right? We don't always get to see everything that's happening, and this has been great. I consider myself very fortunate to be able to sit with you guys the last few days and share with you, and I hope there's lots of other opportunities to meet you in person sometime, and continue the learning, I guess, because it could be, who knows what the next venue will be.
That's right. That's right. All right. All right. Great job, Shannon. I'm so glad and so thankful to have been a part of this. This was my first like deep dive into the Nokomis moccasin making. I've seen you popped up, geez, right at the center, at the old fort, in the boot camp. Not with this project, but I definitely have seen you spreading yourself out and giving that time to community and teaching and mentoring and connecting, and the list goes on and on. So Shannon, I know this is not a goodbye. This is a awesome to see you here, and I will see you at our next venue, wherever that is. But we're having a lot of thank yous in the comment section. This was a wonderful experience, something new. We learned a lot, and I'm excited to see them transfer their skills from this activity into their future success. So thank you, Shannon, so much. And we will be at closing ceremonies. Thank you so much.
Miigwech.
Yes.
Bamapi.
Bamapi. Onakiwahe.